Hi, Libra. Okay, so we will be looking at this transit of Saturn from 2025 to 2027. Usually Saturn stays in a sign for 2 years and 3 months. Very specific. You could look at the, we're going to be looking from Libra rising specifically because I can't see your map. That's the easiest way for me to explain what's happening in ways of, I guess this is a bit of a prediction in a way. But it's more information for you to take. Now, I know a lot of you follow tropical, so you would be seeing this as Saturn in Aries. In the sky, it's not there yet, and I personally think that that's a really good thing. We're prepping for it. To me, that's what tropical is it's like future focused, right? It's shining the light on what could be, and sidereal or Vedic astrology is what's happening in the sky, meaning what's happening right now emotionally. But we've been prepping for it mentally anyhow. We've been prepping in our body and then mentally, and now we're doing it emotionally. In relation to that, Saturn in our map rules over, well, many things. Foundationally, he rules over the 10th and 11th house. During this transit, he'll be in your 6th house for 2 years. We'll talk about that more in a second. But particularly your map, Libra rising, this is going to be your 4th, 5th, and 6th house are going to be highlighted because your 4th house is Cap, 5th house is Aquarius, and then this transit where it is entering into your 6th house. So 4, 5, and 6 are going to be really important. What are we talking about? We're talking about home. We're talking about family. Some people see the 4th house as the father. Some people see it as the mother. We'll take it as parental energy. This can also be the end of, it's also the house of the end of life, which I'm sure most of you have looked in some kind of way. Probably you could look back 4 years ago, will also give you an indication to what you've been learning about, right? Saturn was going through Capricorn. That is the ruler of Capricorn. He is the king of Capricorn, Saturn. Then Saturn went through Aquarius, which is at home. He is also the king of that domain. And then we work through that. Again, the body and then the mind. And now we're in Pisces, which in a sense is the emotions and as well as the spirit, right? So 6th house will be of significance. What is the 6th house? The 6th house is the house of the battlefield. We're going to take the hard thing first, okay? Because this is a blind spot to you specifically. It makes a quincunx or an inconjunct, that's how you spell it, to your 6th house. So the health of your body is very important. You really want to pay attention to your health, your lymphatic system, your teeth, your bones. This is for everybody because Saturn rules over health, but particularly as this is in your house of dis-ease or the house of health, which also is the battlefield. So it's kind of like where we get sick, right? Say you have moon naturally here, and particularly if you have moon in Pisces in this transit, this is going to be very hard on you mentally. The moon rules over your mind. This can create depression, moon in the 6th. That could also be when Libra rising, this is important to remember, when, this is for all signs too, thank you for the tip. Whenever the moon travels through Pisces, which happens once a month for 2 days, right? The moon goes through each sign 2 days at a time. When the moon goes over, again, is in Pisces from 2022 or 2025 to 2027, this is what's called Sadasati, when Saturn and the moon connect. And when they do, it is very emotional. It is very upsetting. It's like all of a sudden you lose all your faith. You'll feel like you want to give up. You'll feel like, you want to get drunk. You want to just like check out. You do all the bad things and you actually can hurt yourself. So please don't. If you are an alcoholic, this would be a great time, or you drink alcohol. You may decide to quit drinking alcohol. If you've already been sober for a long time, this could be a test of that, where where it's kind of like, again, the emotional responses. How am I going to deal with Muffin? Hold on. Muffin? Hey. You're not zooming in now. Hold on. I feel like we're talking fast. Gemini up in Jupiter up in your ninth, right? So what else is the sixth house? It's the house of where we serve each other, right? It's the house of servants. Like if you actually had a housemaid, the planets here are going to show how you would treat your maid, how you would treat your housekeeper, how you would treat your gardener if you had one of those things. Even when you hire a plumber, that's still a servant, right? How you treat other people at a restaurant, right, when you go out to dinner. But Saturn and Pisces, particularly to me and classically, is being of service to those who are in need. So say you go out to dinner and your waitress is there and you can, for some reason or another, just tell that she's having a hard time or she's struggling, or maybe you overhear something. It's like, maybe you tip them really well. This could also be you being of service. It doesn't have to be money. It could be like, I'm going to volunteer my time to those who are in need. But this wouldn't be telling anybody. It's not telling anybody. It's not like, don't post it on Facebook, don't post it on social media. Even if you're, because then it would be kind of like, look, I'm proud of what I did. Look what I did. But it's not about you, right? It's about the other person. Now, I feel like Libra doesn't need to know this, but it's just important, because it could even be one of those things where it's like, I donated to this, like, you should donate too. But again, it's not about you. It's about what you gave, and that is, because it looks across at the house of, it looks to the house of secrecy and hidden in interesting ways. So it's one of those things where, like, you wouldn't even share these kinds of things. And maybe other people volunteer and you don't know that, you know? Like maybe, I don't know. So the sixth house is also libraries and small animals. So that's interesting we pick those two together. But maybe you're organizing your library. Maybe some of you have a lot of books or a lot of something, and you may actually start donating. Like, I don't need all of these. I would say some of you could start collecting like more spiritual books, like books on what you're interested in, books that have to do with health. Maybe you gain more books about health, or you're learning more about health. I actually went through this Saturn through the 6th in the past, and I can say from my experience that it's really important to remember that you don't push yourself too much when Saturn is there. Now, it depends on the sign, and for you, Libra rising, particularly, this is going to be Pisces, and that encapsulates a lot to me, so it's a little bit hard to say not looking at your full map, but let me try to reel this back. When Saturn is in the 6th transiting, it's like you're going to feel like, I have to put in 100%. I have to be disciplined. I have to work really, really hard to get this done. But Pisces is about rest. And so, Libra, you want to make sure that you have a balance with this, because no matter, say you do want to put forth more energy, right? You put in that extra. You don't get more back. The more, usually it's like, well, what you put in, you get back. It's not like that. You could put in what you had been putting in, or even more, but it's like your boss isn't going to notice. Again, you could be a really good waitress, super fast, like you're doing that. You could be more friendly. You could be more relatable. You're not going to get necessarily more tips. I know we gave that example before, but I think that's because you would be able to notice, you Libra rising could notice the struggles of those who you serve and who serve you. And it actually could be very spiritual. Some of you, if you do happen to have a work in the healing world, you could be a manicurist, pedicurist, cosmetologist. You could be I see a spiritualist, you know, a Reiki, any kind of healing. It could even be tarot reader, astrology, any kind of modality like that. Again, in these different worlds, I guess you could get more serious about it. Perhaps some of you actually need to take a class on something or expand some knowledge in a certain way. It could be just books. We talked about those libraries. Now, if you have doubles of things, then I heard you definitely don't need them. This could be a class potentially online. It doesn't have to be literal. Again, it's like I'm seeing someone study by themselves. I'm seeing someone study like here. I'm seeing someone study like going to a physical class near them some way or another. I would definitely say when you get off of work, you want to kick off your shoes. You want to change your clothes. Take off your uniform and put on comfy clothes. If you can, I would wash your hands, your face, your feet. Like just rinse those off. It might even just be taking your shoes off and letting them breathe. Maybe kick your feet up, especially if you're always on your feet all day. Get some circulation going back into, this is going to balance more of this heart space. Now, I know this won't be relative to everyone exactly, but I'm going to try to explain what I see. The falseness that's in the world in ways of spirituality, quote unquote, like I'm seeing like a monkey just repeating what other people do, and they have like a big ego about it, especially in these wider circles. You may just decide, like, I don't know, I feel like the people in the bigger circles or like bigger groups that you're a part of. Now, this doesn't have to be, say, like, let's use an example. Like us here, I would consider this a group, right? We get together, we energetically connect together and learn together, and to me, that's awesome, and it's creative, and I thank you, and I love you, and that it's a group. But there are lots of people that are in this world that we're a part of that aren't necessarily here, right? They're doing their own little things, but they have a lot of ego. I feel like they're going to go away. It's almost like the fake ones go away and the good ones stay. Do you know what I mean? And that really is a blessing. It really, really is a blessing, because I think, well, I see it's natural for you to compare yourself to others, right? Once, August, about August, something happens around then where, how do I explain it? Well, it's like Ganesha protects you, but Ganesha is Shiva's son, right? And I feel like they both have the ability to create and destroy. I guess we all have that ability. But this is where Scorpio talked a little bit about this, like, you don't need to worry about the people that aren't real or that are egotistical or doing things for the wrong reasons, or the people especially because I feel like some of you compare yourself to fake people, or you compare yourself to people that you don't even respect. even if other people respect them, it's not about that. You don't respect them, and that's your own choice to because you understand something about the situation in a moral context or in a wider context. And so it's like, why would you compare yourself to your enemy? Don't. Don't. Because I heard you're not in the same camp as them, even if you are in the same field. Does that make sense? I heard you got to give yourself more credit, but not in the sense where you're becoming prideful. I feel like Libra is a very humble sign, right? Taurus, although other Venus, can also be humble, but they always have an undercurrent of sometimes they can get, all right, Scorpio opposes them, it's different. The point is that I heard you are a humble person, a humble soul. So humbly give. And then I'm seeing someone holding a bowl. And they're bowing. So maybe some of you actually get baptized. Putting more structure around your prayer, particularly as this is your day-to-day house as well, sixth house, it will be very important. I actually see the prayer when you come home at the end of the day, right? Like with the sunset, that prayer is very important to you. You want to make sure you're barefoot when the sun is setting. Like in the house, barefoot. I almost feel like taking showers at night will be better for you too. It's kind of like washing off the day. Like you get home from working, just wash it off. And then, you know, I heard maybe you read your book or like tune in, you know, maybe that's when you check a little bit of, internet, and then you shut it off and you settle into your body. So turning off electronics 2 hours before going to sleep is going to really help you as well, especially Saturn in Pisces. Because to me, this is either going to interrupt sleep or it's going to cause deep rest. One or the other. Now, let me see. Libra. You and Leo are going to be the one that balances this, that holds a lot of responsibility around the keeping this transit balanced. Libra and Leo. So if you have planets in those houses, you may feel the heaviness a little bit, because remember, Saturn's really heavy, right? He's lead. But then you got Libra over here, Venus, and then you have the Sun over here, Leo. So there's a lot of light and positivity and ways of love, and all of these are committed kinds of energy, right? The Sun is the king. He's committed to his kingdom, right? Saturn is responsible, committed. Venus is a planet of committing. It's the planet of marriage. So you may need to put a little extra sugar on it sometimes, or maybe you just need a little sugar from others more than usual. I heard maybe you'll finally learn how to ask for that. Spreading a little sugar again on those who also really need you, right? Again, like that volunteering energy or giving of it. You know, it could be, for instance, even like how people give free readings, you know, like on the internet or something like that. I mean, that's not ultimately being suggested, but it's just, you know, something like that. You're giving of your time in hopes of helping someone. I heard not that you're not allowed to be compensated. The sixth house is of work, and it aspects your 10th house. But I can see that a lot of you are also, you realize that your work is also, the field that you're in is kind of saturated, which I feel like is everybody. I feel like everybody does everything, right? There's a million rappers. There's so many. I don't know. There's so many tarot readers. There's so many doctors. There's so many this. There's so many that. So many different cars. I don't know. Like everything is a lot. But Saturn is less is more. So I heard don't shut down shop just because somebody else is doing what you do in a way. Like I'm seeing the example where someone, this came up I think in Scorpio, like someone was a watercolorist. They like to watercolor. It was like just something they like to do. It was fun to them. Oh, you're getting a different message. Hold on. Well, I'm going into digestion. You may start wearing more black. You may notice that. Like black and blue. See how you feel when you wear colors, though. Because for some people, it's natural, it's fine. You know, for other people, they're not supposed to wear, like, really dark colors. They should wear, like, lighter colors. It depends on the kind of person that they are. Because sometimes Saturn and Pisces can also cause just depression in general. It's like it's a feeling of heaviness. It's like an anchor in the sea, right, in the water. But the thing is we need this anchor because he's going to anchor us in the sea. And we need to be so we don't just float out into infinity, right? So that when Saturn finally moves into Aries, this is where we're all going to feel more solid as a person, more stable as a person, because we just went through, again, so much. I mean, let's go back to you, Libra. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So a decade ago, let's say 10, 12 years ago, that was also the last time that Jupiter was in Gemini for you, in your 9th house. So I feel like, okay, so for the next year, from May on, Jupiter moves signs into your 9th house. It will stay there 1 year. The North Node and the South Node also move on that same day into your 5th and 11th house. It's Leo Aquarius space. And then Saturn, from March on, will stay in your 6th house for 2 years. These ones are important, especially the next, again, year and a half, 2 years. This whole time period, although Jupiter again will shift next year, which will really help, I see, your career. So we're talking about the 9th house of higher learning, right? This could be your master's, your PhD. You're finally becoming more serious about something. It wants to learn too. But it learns in its own way. It like learns differently. You know, maybe someone always said like, "Oh, I'm dyslexic. Like I can't read. Like I don't read." And it's just like, okay, well maybe you get book on tape. You know, you figure out how to compensate, basically. I'd also say some of the wider circles, if you have, I feel like some of you have been being shrouded or blocked in some kind of way from connecting to others or from others really seeing or appreciating your light. And maybe that was just humbling so that you could prepare for this. Because again, when the South Node goes through Leo, Kapil said it on KRS Astrology. I love him. He's Scorpio. He's so honest and so smart. And he was saying that, for instance, like a lot of people come to him that are, I mean, he has over 500,000 subscribers or whatever, but he's also been doing this a really long time and he knows what he's doing. But the number isn't important. What's important is he was talking about he works sometimes with clients that are like, you know, high end, whatever. They're influencers, for instance, like a TikToker that has like 1 million followers. millions of followers, and they'll just write him and be like, I want you to do my chart like this, just like this. This is what I want to know, and I don't want to know anything else. How much do you, just tell me whatever you want and I'll pay for it to you. Like, I just want to know how to get like more views or something like that. And even him in that video, he couldn't control himself. He rolled his eyes because he was like, when K2 or the South Node goes through Leo, that is pride. And K2 is going to suck the prideful out of people, or it's going to be very easy to see people's pride. Although I sense that you already sensed it, not only in yourself, and I feel like this was corrected. And if not, it will be. No big deal. Again, you're naturally a humble sign. Because it doesn't mean that you're not allowed to shine, that people aren't allowed to shine in this life and be an individual, but it's the kind of ego or arrogance that just, again, it like just mimics everybody. You know, it's not even being itself, and it's not even being like the larger, because the 11th house, even though they say it's about our wishes and our dreams coming true, that's a collective house. It's a group house. So it's not about what the individual wants. Although that could be a string of the tapestry, it's more of how can I help what is needed within the community happen and make that wish that the community has that we need come true. Do you know what I mean? I mean, there's still like a chief, you know, there's still a manager here, there's still a president of something, there's still levels and layers, right? Saturn exists. There's hierarchy to things. So maybe some of those platforms, again, like TikTok, like people will just get annoyed with that, even though it's like entertainment. I mean, that might even be YouTube too. I don't know. I mean, I personally have been not wanting to show my face ever since Saturn was going through Aquarius the last 2 years, because I felt, for instance, in myself, and I'm very Venusian, but like I felt in myself, I was like, it isn't about me. Like, I don't want to be the thing. It's not about me, it's about the message, you know. It's like if I wrote a book, I don't need to have my name on it. You know what I mean? It's not, it's bigger than that. It's like an ultimate creational thing. So anyway, that might be happening. What else? You could want to learn, if you catch yourself in the zone where you're like learning, and it's getting in a groove, you might be learning so much. It's almost like information is just coming to you. Like you can absorb it really, really quickly. But it's almost as if I'm seeing a person take in a lot of information. This is Gemini too. It's like take in a lot of information, but it like never really stops to be like, okay, what was that chapter about? Or how would I explain what I just learned about in my own words, say if Saturn was the teacher? And I'm seeing, for instance, like again, that library. It's like maybe you just, because I feel like you already have the information. You just have to sit down and make time for it. And I feel like you're probably rereading 2 books at once, or learning kind of 2 things at once. I mean, maybe it's 2 different like modalities or schools of thought. Maybe you're blending. That could be a part of that Jupiter and Gemini learning differently. Until September, Vesta will also be in your 2nd house. Most of 2025, she was there in Scorpio. And then as far as I know, she stays in a sign for 9 months. It's like a pregnancy. So that's probably why she's kind of afraid of it sometimes. But I think what a person's coming to value is more structure around spirituality, more practicality around invisible things. I don't know if that makes sense. Because again, Saturn in Pisces is, to me, is spiritual structure. You know, I heard you can pray anytime you want. You can pray any way you want, any time of day. But like, you come up with your own routine for it. You come up with your own way for it. You don't have to follow an old structure. You could. Some Saturn's about tradition, and Pisces is spirituality. So this could be old spiritual practices. You know, maybe it's more Sufism or uh, what have you. I mean, it could even go into religion, technically, with Jupiter going through your ninth house, but usually Jupiter in Gemini doesn't want to study religion necessarily. It's not about that, but you always want to make sure there's no judgments about that. That's also Saturn and Pisces. Right, because Pisces is Jesus, right? It's the age, it's the era of Jesus, so that's about non-judging, right? Which to me, Jesus and Buddha are basically the same. It's all non-judgment, detachment, loving. I mean, shoot, some of you could be learning about real estate. Maybe you're learning about, I don't know, you'd be learning about all kinds of things. And it may be something that's, maybe learning something that's outside of work, one of the things might also be helpful too. Because I feel like most of you are so responsible, right? Your Saturn's exalted in your sign, so that's another house to pay attention to. So it might be like, yeah, okay, I'm going to take this class, and this is relative to this, and this will help my job, and this and that. Because Mars has been in your 10th, and it's touchy there with Cancer. It's been touchy there. It's like, could make you scared. You know, like, am I going to get fired? Am I going to lose my job? Like, whatever. So I think one of the things, again, you want to learn about is maybe something completely offhand. Again, like, you could learn about, again, real estate. You could learn about oceanography. You could learn about the ram. I don't know, animal medicine. Like, so, something different. That could help balance it, because Saturn's below the horizon for you, so he wants you to be grounded. He wants you to feel grounded, and one of the basic ways is also to take care of, to be clean in your house. You want to make sure your bathroom's really clean. That should be like your task, Libra rising. Or strong Libra, could be moon, sun, but really specifically, Libra would be the one that's supposed to clean the bathroom. It's just a part of it. I'm also seeing someone like clean the windows. Because there are going to be some times where you don't understand what's going on. And it could just be emotionally. Where you're like, I don't understand, like, why I feel so steady right now. Something crazy is going on. Or something intense is going on. Or something's confusing. And you just don't know why, even though everything's fine. Now, sometimes intuitively that is preparing you for something in the future. But I think other times it could just be where, again, the mind... right, Rahu in Aquarius is going to make the mental world kind of foggy sometimes. And this has come up a lot. I think it's because now I'm aware of the ages that we're at too. There's similarities here, but some of you, this is like perimenopausal, menopausal, or exiting out of menopause. If you're a man, this is just women around you in your life at a certain age. Being aware of it is a good thing. So maybe changing your diet. Did we say before, like, all of a sudden you could be like, I don't want to eat fish, or I don't want to eat shellfish anymore, or this is also blessing your water. Donating black clothes on a Saturday, also black and blue clothes or black and blue things would be helpful. You'd want to make sure that you're keeping things organized too, especially like the dust off of things in the bathroom. And that which that comes in, because it's a quincunx, like that which that comes in that's sort of demanding of your energy, or it's sort of like an unexpected thing where you're like, all right, this is difficult. Especially when this is affecting you emotionally, try to sit with it and be like, okay, I heard someone say, I don't just believe, I know that everything happens for a reason. Help me to be at peace with where I am, to honor where I am right now. Because for some of you, it's uncomfortable to actually feel the peace. And when you don't feel the peace, it's uncomfortable to come out of the uncomfortability. Does that make sense? And I think that's part of what's happening too, is this, there's some kind of analysis, or the detailness of Saturn is helping a person fine-tune emotionally what's going on. Not so that it's flat and there's nothing there, but when it's aggravated or dissident, it's like someone can just sit with it and wait till the, it's like someone cannonballs, and it's just like, just wait till the water is placid again, and then you reflect. Then you can reflect because you can see it. But you can't see it when it's all wobbly, the inconsistency of that. I would say like a regular diet is also important. And I think you're going to be able to tell your diet very easily by your digestion. Say you eat something and then like a couple days later, like your feet are itchy. You're like, why is that? But it's not your foot. It's what you ate. You know what I mean? I'd also say, sadly, I don't want to close it on a hard note, but with Saturn in the 6th, if you have small pets, it could be possible that they could be getting older. There needs to be more things to show actual death. But Saturn in the 6th is definitely, the pet is getting older. So you may just notice that. That's also something you can serve as your pets. So maybe they like long walks by the beach, but you don't feel like it. It's like, well, walk them. You know what I mean? And then I'm seeing a cat in a bath. Funny. All right, we're going to say that's that. I hope this was helpful. Please feel free to share your thoughts or any questions that you have. I or another intelligent person here, there's so many smart people here, can help you out. And if you are new here, welcome to this place. If you don't have it, I'm assuming you do, but if you'd like it and you don't have it, I can send you a snapshot of your map, which also gives you a breakdown of the elements, and especially those of you who are new or newer to astrology, it's an easy way to learn. I'd be more than happy to share that. Just email me and let me know your handle and your name, because I actually don't know everybody's real names because we use these other names. But anyway, I hope this was helpful. End of the story. Peace out.